Juneteenth, red, black, and green. What does it all mean? Well, for those that don't know, Juneteenth is a celebration celebrating the ending of slavery. Now, it started in Texas, and one of the interesting things about the whole history of Juneteenth is that back then there was no television. So news didn't travel as fast as it did now, of course. And according to the story, basically the brothers and sisters in the Texas area didn't find out that slavery had ended till months later. And this day, well, June 19th is the actual day. It's the day to commemorate that. Now, everyone that's black, every African American don't necessarily celebrate or acknowledge Juneteenth for whatever reason. So, some of us don't even believe slavery existed, which I agree is too much evidence to support that. Now, of course, things probably didn't happen the way they are telling. Of course, they're leaving something out or adding something to it, which goes back to the whole thing of information and misinformation and how powerful information is. And what you know or what you don't know will affect you. What's the old saying? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. You know why? Because you have nothing to guide you. You have nothing to cross-reference whatever you're being exposed to, whatever the information is. So even if you're being told a lie plenty of times, you're going to naturally start accepting that lie as face value because you're always being told that or you're always being seen that. This is why advertisement is so powerful. This is why media, news is so powerful. You got to think, back then, no television. So whoever knew certain things first had the edge over everybody. And it could be something as simple as a big company going out of business, just like they do now with insider trading. You know why they do that? Because they need to know, whoever know that this company going under or up, whether or not to take your money out. So that's the value of information. And information also can be used against you, being that you're being bombarded with so much information. Not only you can't filter the information, but it shortens your cognitive abilities in terms of focus and concentration. And don't get me wrong, the mind adapts but you have to develop that filter first to know you're being bombarded in the first place in order to filter what you're being exposed to. But anyway, I kind of like touching on that in terms of Juneteenth because that's the whole purpose of that holiday, was just due to information, whether it was misinformation or stagnant information. And you got to think, I'm certain powers that be in the Texas area was aware that slavery had ended, but I'm pretty sure they were slow to get that news down to the rest of the folk. I'm willing to bet that. But anyway, fast forward to now, as far as Juneteenth, me personally, I guess I'll celebrate it. I'm not gonna say I don't celebrate it because I'm all for the RBG, red, black, and green. I'm all with networking and building with my people, period. So to that extent, yeah, I'm all for Juneteenth, and I'm all for getting the true facts out there regarding the history of our experience and what we've been through. So I just want to put that out there as well. But just to think about that, y'all, the whole start of Juneteenth was just basically the simple fact is they didn't get the news till months later. And obviously it had to be in the month of June. And I never really researched who actually started Juneteenth. I believe it was a preacher out of Texas, and it was a female, a sister. And I should know this, who was really pushing that, who really pushed it. So it's all good, man. And y'all out there, man, y'all go ahead and celebrate our history, our legacy. And this is another thing, because like I said, everybody black don't celebrate or acknowledge Juneteenth, that we probably need to come together and even put a holiday or some sort of celebration that we create. Because again, even though Juneteenth, a lot of us do acknowledge it, there's one of the things, and I spoke on that regarding hip-hop, letting other entities getting ahead of it and change the whole narrative on what it stands for. That's one of the things we need to be aware of. So let's keep that in mind when we out here partying and celebrating, because we all know we good at doing that, partying and celebrating. But then when that's over, we go back to doing nothing. So we got to keep this going in terms of building and networking with each other. And at the same time, like I said, learning what really happened. A lot of people don't think history is relevant, and they want to say, well, what happened then don't matter, and we need to focus on now and building our new, how should I put it, our new Mecca or heaven now. But you got to know where you came from to know where you're going, and there's nothing new under the sun. So it's a lot of things that you draw from history just to even navigate moving forward. So I understand we need new heroes and new holidays, like I just said, other than the ones that was made up, because a lot of us, we ain't even sure the true origin of a lot of the holidays. But regardless, again, in regards to Juneteenth, we know the whole reason, basically just celebrating the fact that, damn, they ain't even figure out slavery had ended till months later. And that's really just crazy to think, but and some argue that it's still slavery. And to an extent it is. I mean, you still got to get up and work. Now, everybody got to get on the plantation, by that extent, out the plantation on to the factories. Even if you're making a lot of money, and I said this before, if you got to get that ass up and be somewhere, whether you making 100,000 a day or $1 a day, you on that plantation. So by that rationale, so yeah. But anyway, man, happy Juneteenth to all those out there. And people, non-African Americans, they probably, because I know them probably interested anyway. So that's the real story behind Juneteenth. And of course, there's always more to meets the eye, a lot more to it. But just in a nutshell, as far as the whole celebration, is really just celebrating the whole legal ending of slavery, the whole legal ending terms of slavery, and in particular in the state of Texas, in the Texas area, due to the fact that they didn't get the news till much later, being that it wasn't no TVs or radios back then. It was just newspaper, old school Pony Express, and all that type of stuff. So let's give you something to think about on how technology dictates stuff for better or for worse, and how that can give you the edge on things. Just like now, how I'm tapping into the world right now, as we all know. So we got to keep that in mind, man, and continue to network, man. Even though it's a lot of crab in the barrel folk out here, it's a lot too. It's a lot of envious haters. But regardless, man,